Hi guys, and now some news from Baltimore. Woman gets prison time for McDonald's beating. Tiona Brown pleaded guilty to hate crime charges back in August. A lot of you remember this story, um, which I'm going to continue to talk about. And the reason I'm talking about this is because my previous video talked about violence against transgender people, specifically the male to female. Because honestly, we are the ones that stick out the most. I'll continue to stand by that. You know, I live it every day. So anyway, the Baltimore paper writes, or the editor writes, the woman who was caught on tape beating up a transgender woman inside a Rosedale McDonald's in April was served 5 years in prison. Tiona Brown, 18, was sentenced Tuesday to 10 years in prison with all but 5 years suspended. Brown pleaded guilty in August to a hate crime charge and assault in the attack on 22-year-old Chrissy Polis. Excuse me if I'm pronouncing her name wrong. The incident gained nationwide attention after an employee at the McDonald's at the 6300 block of Kenwood Avenue recorded the beating and posted it online. I'm talking about, this goes back to my video from yesterday, talking about how this guy really wanted his 5 minutes of fame. So rather than calling the cops, this guy posted it on his YouTube because he thought it was probably funny as hell to see somebody else get beat down to within an inch of their life. So anyway, in court on Tuesday, Brown asked for forgiveness and a second chance and said she would wanted to apologize to the victim, but the judge said he couldn't excuse her outrageous conduct. Brown's defense attorney asked for a suspended sentence and probation for his client. He wanted her released, saying she regretted what happened and used bad judgment. Polis wasn't in court for the sentencing, but a second victim, Vicky Thorns, who was trying to break it all up, came because she wanted justice. Thorne was quoted as saying, "I never dreamed I would see anything like this in my life. Never. It's like you were watching someone being murdered almost." Polis's victim impact statement was read during the sentence. In it, she said, "While being beaten, I felt like I was going to die that day. I was kicked in the chest, crotch, and head. Chunks of my hair were pulled out. They were all over me, and I couldn't get them to stop." End quote. Polis said she felt her identity was taken away. "I never dreamed I would see anything like that in my life." Of course, I just did that quote, but that was from Vicky Thorne, who was trying to break it up. Polis went on to say, "My private life has been exposed to the world. I lost my job. I can't go anywhere without the fear of getting hurt again. I wanted to go into a hole and hide. I do not forgive them for what they did to me," she said. When you watch the video from beginning to end, it's quite clear that a hate crime was the motivation, said the Baltimore County State Attorney, Scott Schellenberger. He was quoted, "It's important you prosecute people for the crimes you can win on, and it was clear the motive was a hate crime. She should be convicted of that." And she was. The 14-year-old co-defendant, um, whose name I don't know, she still remains in a juvenile facility, and they say she could be there for up until she's the age of 21. At the time of the beating, Polis had told police she had gotten into an argument with the suspects in the bathroom before the assault began, and she said she didn't know either one of the women. So that's the story from Baltimore, and this brings me to ask the question: um, does that time in prison fit the crime? I don't think so. I personally don't think so. Um, that's why I'm going to attach a link. I'm sure all of you guys have seen this before, but when I talked yesterday about male to female transgender women, um, just by dressing and being who we are, we're taking our lives into our own hands, because there are a lot of people out there that just because they don't understand us, They hate us. They want to kill us in every way imaginable. And the other day I talked about, in my previous video, I talked about overkill. This is a clear case of overkill. Except fortunately, Chrissy was not killed. But if you remember, towards the end of the video, she suffered a seizure right there at the door. And of course these girls walked out, but were later put into custody after they were identified. But the fact that what pisses me off the most, the fact that there were not more reprimands, or maybe there were. I need to look into that, but I'm sure there were reprimands. The employees who were caught videotaping instead of helping, I believe, were relieved, fired, whatever you want to put, suspended. It just goes to show that we need to get out of the umbrella that we're somehow second-class citizens, and that whatever you do to a male-to-female transsexual is okay. It's a hate crime. They don't like the way you look, so they're going to beat your ass, And sorry, I can handle myself when I have to. Maybe at worst 3-1, but I can't fight with a gun. I can't fight 3-1 when they got knives and baseball bats. Transgender justice, 5 years. This article didn't go on to say, but she would actually be eligible for parole in 3 years. And of course, everyone kind of, is pissed off at the defense attorney because he just basically wanted to get her off with a slap on her wrist and probation because she felt bad for what she did. She beat that girl within an inch of her life for almost 6 minutes. And she came back repeatedly. Where's the justice in that? Now I can understand an outrage. She was raged. And she whooped, let's just say she whooped her ass, okay? You whooped your ass, the person is down, it's done. Any normal person would say, it's done. I got the best of them. But to come back and to beat them some more, no. Definite hate crime. Definite hate crime, and it deserved a harder sentencing. Now, stuff like this needs to be put out there. We need to send this somewhere. Send it, like I said the other day. Send these instances to your congressmen, congresswoman, state senators, your mayor, local authorities. This stuff happens all the time. It's just not being reported. And the only way this one was reported was because some goof, an employee, recorded it on his camera phone and then uploaded it to his YouTube account for the whole world to see. Yeah, it went viral. And if you would have read some of the comments, which I'm sure some of you did, there were some nasty comments. It's like, that's what he gets for trying to be a woman and trying to be something that he's not. That whole way of thinking, it's just not right. I wouldn't want it from any of you. I look at my own 2 children. They wouldn't understand why people can be so hateful to inflict that kind of damage on me. For someone just to get off with 5 years, 10 years, a slap on the wrist, or maybe not even a hate crime filed at all. You guys know all the stories. Share my video with someone. Share the link with someone. I'm going to post a link, of the news story, and embedded in the news story is the footage that was taken from that beating. And I don't know the woman's name. I don't know if she's ever been identified. Maybe she was. One lady tried to come and help, and the girls were going at Chrissy badly. And you could hear this woman say, you know, leave her alone. And she was trying to put herself into the middle of it just to break it up. I applaud her. We need more people like her in society and public restaurants where something like this can happen. You know, anyway, I'm disgusted with the outcome of that sentencing. I hope you are too. I'm going to follow this judge. I'm going to follow this court. I'm going to follow this judge to see if another crime like this comes up, if they get a similar sentence. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and sign out for now because I'm totally disgusted. I feel like throwing up. I felt like throwing up when I watched the video. Every time I hear about a transgender person being beaten down to within an inch of their life or losing their life, I'm sure it makes you guys sick. And if it doesn't, you know, it should. You cannot walk around this world naive thinking that no one is going to try to harm you, because they will. Give them a chance. Get them around their buddies, you know, whatever. Anyway, they're losers. That's all I can say. They're losers. They're bigots. They're haters. Anyway, I'm done. Anyway, I'll check in with you guys later. Thanks for watching.